Now, if I told you once, I told you twice. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the realization, the epiphany that I had when I realized Tank Davis is everything that Canelo tried to be. Tank Davis is everything that Canelo's fans wishes Canelo was. That may sound crazy, but let me explain. Tank Davis, in a shorter amount of time, has accomplished more on the pay-per-view side than Canelo Alvarez. Why do I say that? Canelo has been the face of boxing. He has been a star for 10 years. He hasn't cracked the top 10 since he was 23 years old fighting Floyd Mayweather. Tank Davis has not been regarded as the face of boxing. But Tank Davis made history and had the 6th ranking all-time pay-per-view sales. And he did it in the era of piracy, the era of the Fire Stick. So Tank really is a star that they tried to push Canelo as. All of these years, Canelo has had marketing. He's had help. They've pushed him to the fans. He's had an entire country behind him. Mexico, that is. But he hasn't done pay-per-view numbers since he fought Floyd Mayweather when he was 23 years old. Tank Davis with less fights. Remember, Canelo is 67, 2-2, right? Both of these guys fight in a similar style. They're both counterpunchers. They both are known for their power. But Tank really has the power that Canelo's fans think Canelo has. Let me break it down to you, bro. Let me break it down to you. Canelo has a 65% knockout ratio. Then fought over 70 fights, a bunch of tomato cans. Canelo has lost twice. Some people think he lost more fights than that. Some people think he lost to Lara. Some people think he lost a couple of those fights to Triple Geriatric. So not only is Canelo a guy who's not undefeated like Tank Davis is, but the knockout ratio doesn't add up to the power that people claim Canelo has. Canelo has very good power, but his power is overrated. There is nothing overrated about Tank's power. So not only is Tank a superstar, right? Not only is he breaking pay-per-view numbers in the time of piracy, in the time of the Fire Stick, where people aren't even really buying that shit, but his power is real because Tank holds a what? I think 95 or 96% knockout ratio. Out of the 29 people that has gotten to the boxing ring with Tank Davis, 27 of them have been put to sleep. The only thing that Canelo has on Tank is his resume, but that's a big thing. That's not a small thing. Canelo's resume is way better than Tank's. But at the end of the day, when it comes to marketability, when it comes to being action-packed, when it comes to real knockout power, when it comes to natural athleticism, they both fight in similar styles. They're both counterpunchers. They're both guys that look to knock you out. They're both guys that have stamina problems. They're both guys that don't throw many punches. But Tank actually has feet. Canelo doesn't have feet. I hate to break it to you, bro. Somebody said nobody cares, bro. Stank's still not going to be on Canelo level ever, but he spelled it as N. And you see that? You see that typo that you had? That typo, that was a Freudian slip. That was a Freudian slip because you knew that you didn't really believe the bullshit that you was typing, and your cellular device knew that you didn't believe the bullshit you was typing. That's why you had that typo. Canelo makes more pay-per-views than Tank and bigger fans. Canelo has been the face of boxing ever since Floyd retired. But Canelo's biggest and only top 10 pay-per-view fight has been with Floyd Mayweather at 23 years old. So to make a long story short, he hasn't done shit since then. Yeah, NBA 2K, you could join the live. Whenever you see me up here, you could join the live. Right now, I'm trying to explain to all of Canelo's fan base that Canelo Alvarez, what he represents, isn't what he really is. When you think Canelo, you think power. But Tank actually has that power. Tank actually has athleticism. Y'all don't give Canelo flack for having flat feet. I do. Tank doesn't have flat feet. Tank is very fleet of feet. What's up, NBA 2K?
What's up?
Nah, my point is Tank Davis is everything that Canelo wants to be as a fighter and as a pay-per-view star. I think
Yeah,
that the only thing that Canelo has on Tank is experience and resume. Everything else, Tank is on his ass. And in the ring, Tank is more skilled than Canelo. He has faster feet than Canelo. He has better reflexes than Canelo. And pound for pound, Tank hits harder than Canelo. That's why Tank has a 97% knockout ratio.
Yeah.
Canelo has a 65% knockout ratio.
He's better than Canelo. He got good footwork, all type of stuff.
Facts, facts. Somebody said no belts. That's right. That's right. Tank don't got no belts. You know why? Because he's focused on that money. That's why Tank Davis, with only 29 fights, put up a pay-per-view record. Him and Ryan Garcia. He's sitting in his history books forever. And this is supposed to be Canelo's time. This is supposed to be Canelo's era. You see the picture to my right, Canelo got on the crown. Y'all call him King Nello. If he's the king, how come he's not racking in on pay-per-view numbers? If he's the king of boxing. They
I
tried to make Canelo the new Floyd,
heard.
but Canelo doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the super skill level, and he has slow feet. I'm not hating on Canelo. He's an all-time great fighter, but he's just not Floyd Mayweather. And when we talk about marketability, when we talk about pay-per-view sales, when we talk about athleticism, he's not even Tank Davis. Go ahead, NBA 2K.
I thought Tyson Fury was the Gypsy King.
Huh?
I thought Tyson Fury was the Gypsy King.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is a Gypsy King. But they call, but this is the thing. Anthony Joshua doing better numbers than Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo don't have it on the business side. He's not charismatic like Floyd. And plus, he's just now learning how to speak English. So all of that shit goes against him. Also, they try to market him like he's some big power puncher, but he only has a 65% knockout ratio.
Yep.
The power is overrated. Also, he's failed multiple drug tests. So I call him Clinello.
Who the?
We know he was on that clenbuterol. Oh.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of holes in the whole Canelo marketing and the symbolism of Canelo. What his fans believe he is not really what he is. I'm just saying. Tank only stopped drained and small fighters. Canelo just stopped a smaller fighter, a fighter jumping up 2 weight classes. All y'all did was cheer. That's why I think Canelo, they very similar. A lot of their best wins are suspect. So, hey, it is what it is. A lot of their best wins are suspect. But guess what? Tank Davis, he don't even leave a lot of shit to doubt because 95% knockout ratio, he putting guys to sleep. Ryan's the reason the excuse exists. As long as you know Tank a cherry picker, if Tank is a cherry picker, what is Canelo? Why hasn't Canelo fought David Benavidez? And here's another similarity between Canelo and Tank.
Benavidez though, he's scared of Benavidez. He talk about he fighting in September and all this other stuff. He's ducking Benavidez.
If his ass don't fight Benavidez in that 3-fight PBC deal, he can hang it up as far as a career because nobody want to see no other. What else do the people want to see? We know that you can't do shit at light heavyweight. We saw how you looked against Bibble. So the light heavyweight campaign is done.
So football was
Benavidez is at the top of the super
yeah.
middleweight division. You're the guy holding all the belts. You're the guy holding the pay-per-view stardom. You're the guy with these fans that believe that you're an unbeatable fighter, even though they seen you lose 2 times at least at the minimum. So what the fuck? They say he fighting Benavidez. Who you gonna beg him to fight next? I ain't gonna beg him to fight nobody. I don't care if he don't fight Benavidez. He should have been fought Benavidez. And back to what I was saying, Tank and Canelo, they have so many similarities. Another similarity of theirs is they both control where the pendulum is swinging. They control who their opponents is gonna be because they're both the money men. Both of these guys are bringing in some most of the money. Both of these guys are coming into the fights as an A side. So when fights don't happen, you could look to them. Why isn't Tank fighting Devin Haney? Because Tank don't want to fight. Why he not fighting Shakur? Tank don't want it. Tank is the money man. He's the man with the most pull. Why isn't Canelo fighting David Benavidez? Canelo don't want to fight. So these two fighters are similar in many ways, but Tank is a better version of Canelo. Way more explosive, faster feet. The only thing Tank has to do to seal the deal, as far as him being better than Canelo, is to fight Devin and Shakur, get real names on his resume, and win those fights. If he could win 3 or 4 notable fights, he's better than Canelo. Because skill-wise, he's better. Athleticism, he's better. Pay-per-view, in less time, he's accomplished much more than Canelo. Tank made history when he fought Ryan Garcia. They sixth in the all time list. Canelo is third in the all time list, but that's only since he fought Floyd. 10 years after being one of the faces of boxing, he hasn't even approached that type of number because he's not the star that Floyd Mayweather was, and he's not the star that Tank Davis is.
Yup, you ain't nothing about that.
Canelo to me is somebody that's like a plant. The media been pushing him for years. We got some people that want to come up. We get some different perspectives.
Bro,
What's up, man?
why are you trying to act like Canelo's not a star for real, man?
He not.
Not a star.
How? He makes 10 times the money Tank makes. He
Hold on, hold on, hold on,
he
hold on.
does
Let me
10
stop you
times the
right there.
pay-per-view Tank
Let me
does.
stop you right there. Do you understand that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia had 1.2 million buys, sixth ranking all time?
Yes, it takes two to
Hey,
tango.
somebody got to mute their mic, man, because they got the echo. But
Tank
yeah,
did Tank did not make 100 million from this fight, bro.
Let me make sure it's not mine. I'll mute my stuff.
Bro, Canelo does way better pay-per-view on an average
you
than
just ignore
Tank.
everything I just said.
But still though, if you
Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia are sixth ranked all time in the era of piracy, in the era of Fire Stick, where people aren't even buying this shit, where they're streaming. Tank broke. He made history.
yes, it takes
Broke pay per
two
view
to take.
records.
Bro,
Canelo,
Canelo,
listen, hold up. Canelo has been the king for almost a decade. Why hasn't he touched the success that he's seen when he fought Floyd Mayweather, who was the greatest salesman to ever touch the sport? Why
because
hasn't he even approached his
Canelo
numbers since
Canelo
he's
hasn't
supposed to be
fought
so charismatic?
Canelo hasn't fought like a famous like a star for real though since Floyd.
Who
Like a
fought his
star?
ass?
Tell Canelo sells like Canelo averages
You don't think that Canelo and
500K pay-per-views, bro,
you
per
don't
fight.
think that you don't think that hold the fuck up. That okay. First off, that's a bullshit argument because Anthony Joshua is bringing
Bullshit,
in
bullshit.
big pay per view numbers. They don't care if Anthony Joshua fighting a goddamn
Yeah,
ice
cuz
cream truck man.
the UK pay-per-views is like $30.
It don't matter. We talking about the sale. Anthony Joshua is bringing in M's, and nobody cares whether he's fighting a top champion or if he's fighting a garbage man. Nobody
Okay.
cares because they come to see Joshua. That's called charisma. That's called stardom.
My point
Canelo
is
is somebody that they try to force to be a star, but he don't got it.
My point is, Canelo makes more money than Tank, and he sells more pay-per-views than Tank.
Do you
You
know
cannot
that?
just use this one 1.2 million fight to say he does better pay-per-views than Tank. He doesn't. I mean, than Canelo. He does not. On an average fight,
On the
bro.
average fight, okay, that's a good point. But at the end of the day, that was Tank's first breaking out party. That was his first big major pay per view, and he shocked the world. He blew everybody out the water.
I
Him and
mean,
Ryan Garcia.
same with
Canelo, hold on,
Canelo.
hold on. Let me just
His
say, Canelo been around for 10 years as the guy. Why hasn't he even approached what he did when he was 23 years old? If he's the star that you want me to believe he is.
I mean, if Canelo was to fight Crawford, you don't think he'd do over 1.2 mil?
No, he's not gonna. Fuck no. Crawford, not even that big of a name.
I think if he fight Benavidez, he's definitely doing over
Thank you.
1.2 million.
Ding, ding, ding,
I
ding,
don't
ding,
know
ding. But he
because
won't
Fight
fight.
Benavidez.
I don't
He
know.
won't
Hey,
fight
yo,
Benavidez,
KJ,
though.
can we be honest that Laura beat Canelo?
Oh yeah, Lara beat. I broke that fight down. But hey, listen, we're not even talking about. We know that Lara beat Canelo. Triple Geriatric probably beat Canelo. Canelo should have more losses because he has slow feet. He's a great fighter, but he always gonna be limited. So his ceiling was never gonna be what Floyd's ceiling was because his feet are slow. You can't
Wait,
help that.
is it true Canelo sold 1 million with GGG?
I don't know.
But the question I want to ask is, do you believe that Canelo's on some kind of a substance, or do you think he's all natural with everything he's
Oh
doing?
no, no, he failed the bureau test twice. The only reason they allowed him. Hey, wait,
Steroids
wait, go
too.
ahead and mute yourself. After you ask your question, mute yourself because it's echoing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is the state of Canelo when it comes to the whether he's clean or not. He failed the clenbuterol test twice, so he's not a natural athlete. The reason why they cleared him and said gave him that hair follicle test and said, oh, well, it was trace amounts, is because boxing is about business. So a lot of these guys are on stuff. But if you bring in enough money to where people are going to turn a blind eye because you're paying this guy and paying that guy and you're fattening up their pockets, you're paying the right people, it doesn't matter whether or not you're on something. They told Canelo in the back room, they said, listen, you need to get a new biochemist. You need to stop being so sloppy. You can't be failing these drug tests. All right, we don't care what you take. You bringing in money. You are a cash cow of the sport. So that's what's going on with Canelo. He's a cheater, but it's a couple of cheaters.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Did James Tony take steroids after the fight with Holyfield?
I
Like,
think
did
James Tony failed drug tests before. And the reason James Tony would need steroids is because he would allow himself to get so fat in between fights. James Tony didn't like to train, so he would only spar to prepare for fights. He didn't like to do road work. He didn't like to do double M work, hit the heavy bag, nothing. He just liked to talk shit, do the shoulder roll, and spar 400, 500 rounds, like crazy amounts of rounds. So when you living like that, you're not going to be able to compete at a top level because pretty much you're going to be a fat boy. You saw what happened to Gerald Miller. Gerald Miller was more talented than Daniel Dubois, right? But in a Daniel Dubois fight, Gerald Miller, he's another guy that was, he had failed a drug test. You know why? Because they're allowing themselves to get fat and out of shape, but they have to be reflexive in the boxing ring. You can't be out of shape and have extra weight on you. You know what I mean? You can't be having a C cup and a D cup jumping into the damn boxing ring thinking you're going to be great. So these dudes, that's why James Toney had to get on steroids. But guess what? Roy Jones failed drug tests. Roy Jones had testosterone levels of a PED user multiple times throughout his career. So a lot of these guys that people praise, they weren't natural athletes. Because a lot of them, they were lazy or they was afraid. Like, I think Roy was natural, but Roy wanted to go up and wait and do stuff that nobody never did. So in order for him to go up and wait and still have the speed and the power, he had to get on that shit. So it's not just about bashing Canelo. And I'm going to say allegedly, all this stuff is alleged. I don't know whether or not these men are on drugs because I'm posting this shit on YouTube. So I don't need YouTube or nobody trying to flag me. All this is alleged. But yeah, anybody got some more questions?
Do you believe that Tyson Fury is a cheater? Like he had no padding in his gloves?
Here's what I'm going to say, man. Where did all the power go in the Ngannou fight? Do you know that Ngannou said that him and Mike Tyson made sure that Tyson Fury could only use a certain amount of gloves, a certain type of gloves? They were on top of that shit. Ngannou said it himself that they made sure that Fury could only use certain types of gloves. They was on top of that because everybody could see there was a difference in power in the second and third fight that Tyson Fury displayed. He's never displayed power like that in his entire career. So after that first fight, when he saw how real Deontay Wilder's power is, I think he went back to the drawing board and tried to get some type of a trump card. Did he cheat? I don't know, but it's highly likely that he did cheat. So what do you say to that, Wickedy?
I agree because he was knocking everyone out before Ngannou, and then he didn't do it with someone who never boxed before.
Well, he wasn't knocking everyone out, but he knocked out Deontay Wilder. Then he get in there with Ngannou, and all of the power, it looks like it's just gone. It looks like it's, just gone.
Yeah, he looked very human against Ngannou.
Another reason why he looked so bad is because him and Deontay Wilder had wars. So Ali and Frazier, after their 3 fights, they were both never the same. Deontay Wilder and Fury, after their 3 fights, neither one of them will ever be the same. If they were smart, they would retire sooner rather than later. Especially Wilder, because he doesn't have the skill to avoid a lot of the shots. Like Joseph Parker hit him with a lot of clean shots, and all Wilder could do was lean back and try to rely on the fact that he was taller than Parker.
I think Wilder lost his killer instinct, man. He act like he didn't want to hurt Joseph Parker his last fight.
That wasn't about him losing his killer instinct. That was about him having Malik Scott instead of Breland. Malik Scott is not a good trainer in my opinion because he's like an ass kisser. Like he tell Deontay all the shit he want to hear instead of telling him, listen, you are not a boxer. The time period that you were supposed to use to develop in your 20s and shit, you was focused on your power. So now you're 38 years old. So guess what? We're gonna continue to focus on our power, and we're gonna see if Joseph Parker can deal with the power. Before we try to go out here and act like we're gonna be jabbing and feinting, go out there and see if he could deal with the power first. Deontay never, he was out that bitch moving around, doing all of this excessive movement as if he was a mover in the boxing ring at any point in his career. So all that did was make him tired. Then when he didn't get the knockout, it was over. He wasn't going to win on points. He wasn't even throwing punches. On top of that, he had like a year off. He really had 2 years off because he only seen one round of action in 2 years. He fought Robert Helenius, a tomato can, knocked him out, and he knocked him out with a counter punch where he stepped back and knocked him out. And I believe that he wanted to do the same thing to Joseph Parker. I broke the fight down on Patreon, but he kept on trying to back up and catch Parker coming in. And it's like, bruh, you knocked out a tomato can. Joseph Parker is a real contender. So, and you never really been a counter puncher. So Deontay Wilder, he overrated his last win. He's been inactive. And Malik Scott is telling him bullshit, trying to act like they're going to turn him into a boxer instead of sticking to their guns and developing skills around the power. Like Wilder should have watched a lot of George Foreman. George Foreman made himself a very simple game that was revolved around his advantage. His advantage was his power. So Foreman's defense was basic. He did the crab guard. You know, he wasn't in there trying to act like he was going to be Ali.
Yeah, it looked very weird to see him move around. Like, and heavyweights, they don't throw a lot of punches anyway.
Terrence Crawford was turning 36, I believe, after the Errol Spence fight. You see, he wasn't in that bitch trying to act like he was Ali moving around.
Wait, KJ, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the car crash affected Earl Spence as a fighter?
Yes, it's impossible for Errol to not be affected by that car crash, but Errol bounced back enough, and we seen that in the Ugas fight that's not the reason why he lost to Crawford. The reason Errol lost to Crawford, number one, Errol looks better. I mean, Crawford looks like a better fighter, a more skilled fighter. He actually was more athletic. He had a better game plan. And number two, Crawford was more focused on boxing the whole time. Errol, he's been in and out of boxing within his spirit. That's why in all of these pay-per-views, you see him say the same shit. And I've mentioned this in other videos. He says, why am I still doing this? And he's like, well, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for why am I still doing this? Because outside of these big-ass fights, he's not even focused on boxing. He's not training. He doesn't really have the same fire that he has when he got into boxing. And that's okay. Errol made millions of dollars. So, but right now, Errol Spence, he got that fire lit again after that ass whooping. So expect to see the best version of Errol in the Terrence Crawford rematch, and expect to see him do something. Like, he may hurt Terrence. He might fuck around and get the victory, but I wouldn't be surprised if he come back and win, because he's going to be more motivated than he's been in the last 3 to 4 years.
To be honest, I think, like, with the Terrence Crawford fight, Errol just came in with, like, a simple rudimentary plan of just trying to, like, be the bigger fighter and just put, like, pressure on him.
Yeah, he just tried to bully him.
You just tried to bully, exactly. And I just think it was like...
Somebody said, did you see what Errol posted today? What y'all talking about in the chat?
His eyes happened with his eye. Was in a wheelchair.
Somebody in a wheelchair?
No, Errol's in a wheel. He was in a wheelchair in the hospital, and he has like a patch all over his eye. I don't know what happened. He just posted on his IG story.
His eye surgery. He had to get eye surgery.
I mean, it might be residue from the first eye surgery. Or maybe some people are saying maybe Bud did it. I don't know. But Errol has been through all type of shit. So he has to... This is what I think Errol want to do. Errol want to come back, see if he could redeem himself. Maybe he gets a victory, and then they do a rubber match. And then Errol might hang up his career after that. But things didn't go as Errol planned. Errol wanted to step on Terrence Crawford, rematch him, beat him, go to 154, maybe have a couple more fights and retire.
I think
Errol was worn out from the sport.
I think Errol needs a tune-up before going back to Terrence Crawford. I think he just needs a confidence builder before going back in deep waters with Terrence Crawford.
He should have got a tune-up before fighting him the first time.
Exactly.
Bud got a tune-up. Bud fought Avenetian. And got that old engine started up again. He didn't just say, you know what, I'm Bud Crawford. I'm gonna go fight Errol with a year and a half of inactivity. Errol was inactive, tried to fight, didn't look good. Jamel Charlo inactive, tried to fight, didn't look good. I don't know who these brothers think they are. They think that they Floyd when Floyd came back and fought Marquez. The difference between Floyd, Errol, and Jamel is not just because Floyd is better than him and all that. Yeah, he's more skilled, but Floyd worked out year round. Unless you work out year round, you cannot be taking year and 2 years off and then jumping right back into the boxing ring.
KJ,
Yeah.
I became very good friends over this last year on this app with Richard Torres, the Nacho Libre heavyweight. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know Richard Torres.
Yeah.
He knocked out some dude, I think some black dude from Alabama or some shit. His last fight, he had a great knockout. Uh, but he was fighting a guy who didn't turn pro until he was like 30 or something, who didn't even start boxing until he was like 26, 27. But
Would he
yeah,
be a
Torres
good fight
right now,
against Wilder?
and he's an Olympian, I believe.
Would he be a good fight against Wilder, Richard Torres, or no?
Right now, anybody could probably go out there. Right now, anybody could go out there and probably win against Wilder. Because Wilder, it's something mental going on. Ever since them Fury fights, there's something mental going on. Where it's like he don't feel like the same guy. He don't look like the same guy. The way that he talked after the fight, he seemed off. He was saying shit like, it's all smiles. I'm still new. It's all smiles. It's all smiles, but you're not smiling.
Wilder doesn't want to do it anymore. Like even
Yeah,
whole aura is different. Before he doesn't seem hungry anymore.
yeah,
Even when he lost it, like if you compare Joshua's reaction to losing to Usyk in the second fight, and you compare Wilder's reaction to losing to Parker, it's polar opposites. Joshua is infuriated because he's still hungry. Wilder's like, yeah, man, I love my family, I love my kids, I made so much
yeah.
money.
He's
He's
like
like,
he's talking about shit,
shut
dog.
up,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Baby, daddy gonna be home in a couple hours to see it. Like, bruh, go
shut
ahead.
up.
If you a family man, go home and be a family man. You
Exactly.
know. And Wilder, you can't take nothing away from him. He's one of the greatest hitters ever. Great performer. He was people say he wasn't a good boxer. I think he was a good boxer because I account for the fact that he was able to execute his power, and he did it over and over and over again, and he did it at the highest level against Tyson Fury. He made millions of dollars. There's nothing wrong with hanging it up, but trying to act like you still that Terminator and you're not that no more, you're gonna get yourself hurt, especially since you don't have defensive fundamentals and shit.
Yeah, because if you look at it realistically, like Wilder's made so much money that like he doesn't care to win anymore. Like,
It's not about the money. When Wilder started boxing, he started boxing for money. You understand what I'm saying? So when he got into it, his daughter had spina bifida. Shout out to him. He chose a honest craft and was able to make money to help out his daughter and to help out himself, his own living situation. But for him personally, he got into it for money. Floyd made more money than Wilder ever dreamed of, and Floyd still training to this day. To this day.
yeah, for
Floyd, 40
sure,
something years old,
for
still out
sure.
there training because he loved this sport. So it's about how much do you love boxing? What drives you? Terrence Crawford, right after he beat Errol, he was in the gym talking about I'm a gym rat. Da da da. Right after he beat Errol, he went to the gym, still working out because it's a different love and a different infatuation that they have with the sport. It's not about money. Everybody
Yeah,
who said alive, thank you. Everybody that's been in here tapping the screen and liking, thank you. And everybody that came up to talk, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Let's keep this thing going for a little bit.
I think when you look at punchers in the sport, Kovalev versus Andre Ward, even guys like Mike Tyson, Wilder seemed like that happened to him too. Like for some reason, punchers they got like this aura about them where like people is also scared of them, and when they get somebody in
When
front
they
of them,
lose the aura, people start looking at them like they damn fresh fish. Like
yeah,
and punchers, a lot of them they rely on their power, and a lot of them have a bully mentality. So once you beat up on a bully, most of the time they quit.
yeah, they just never the same again. Basically,
Yep.
it's crazy.
KJ, what did you think of legendary fighter or '90s fighter David Tua?
Hey, Jared Bear, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you, bro.
Holy shit. You breaking on that one, bro? Yeah.
Got a mutual.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
did
I
you
don't
think
think
of?
that was. Go ahead and ask that question again.
What did you think of '90s fighter heavyweight David Tua?
David Tour. I had to go study.
What
I don't
regular
know much
movement?
about David Tour.
Oh
David Two is
wow.
David Two is actually
You
really
talking?
good. Like
Yeah,
he's
he was one of the greats. He was like the Hawaiian Mike Tyson.
exactly. Evander Holyfield sparred him in preparation for Mike Tyson for the first fight because he actually had a very similar style to Mike Tyson. Like they're both short, kind of
You're
stocky. They
lying
was
about
bob
that,
and
yo.
weave, and he was kind of a volume puncher as well. Like if you ever watch David Two against Ike Ibuchi, it's like the most punches ever in a heavyweight fight. It was
Yeah,
actually
it's
really good.
brutal. Trust. It's like the heavyweight version of Castillo Corrales, KJ.
Yeah, it's like the heavyweight version of you know, the guy Floyd Mayweather fought back in 2004. I forgot his name, but he died. But Floyd absolutely, I forgot
You
his
said
name.
Toronto.
Um, I can't remember. I can't
Diego
remember
Corrales. That's who died.
which one.
Diego Corrales.
No, not Diego. It's
Oh, Arturo Gatti.
Yeah, Etero Gotti,
Oh,
Etero
Gotti.
Gotti and Mickey Ward. Yeah, it was like it's like the heavyweight version of Etero Gotti and Mickey Ward. Like just punches from round 1 to round 12, bobbing weavings. Actually, it was actually brilliant. Two very underrated heavyweights from the 90s. Just never good enough to win a title. I think no. I think he could have won a title because he beat what's his name, John Ruiz. He knocked John Ruiz out in the first round in like 30 seconds or something. He beat former champions. He just was unfortunate to never win a heavyweight title. I think he could have. He really could.
Hmm.
By the way, KJ, with David Tua and Ike Abiyabuchi went to prison for like
Oh yeah, I know
20
the Ike
years.
story. Yeah, I know the Ike story. They say
That's
he's like one of the biggest disappointments in boxing.
he went to prison undefeated. He was like 35-0 or some
he said
36-0.
he said, well, at least he went to
Oh
prison
yeah,
undefeated.
yeah. He was 26-0.
So no, he was like 35 or 36-0. He was
I know you talking.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the percentage you put on Devin Haney beating Tank?
Right now, 65.
65. Damn, that's a big percentage. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. When I went over a film, a big thing that I feel like Tank ain't gonna be able to do to Devin. If you look at Leo Santa Cruz, Rolly Romero, and who's the third guy? Ryan Garcia when he dropped him in the second round. People try to aggress Tank based off his size because he's so little, and they think when he's backing up, they think he's backing up because he's scared, and he lure you into a trap, and he end up dropping you or knocking you out. But I
Well,
noticed them
Tank
three
fighting a lot of
guys.
guys who don't even be thinking in there. My bad
Yeah,
for cutting you off, but a lot of the guys he be fighting, they don't really be thinking. Like Rolly wasn't in there thinking.
at
Ryan wasn't
all,
thinking. Devin will be thinking. So
for
basically, Tank
sure.
has beat a lot of lower IQ fighters.
But if you look at them three guys I just named, I noticed they all threw the same thing at Tank, either 2 or 3
More than one.
times. Yeah. And if
Yep.
you can't throw the same, like that's a trap that I feel like Devin's not gonna try to aggress Tank or run in because of how small Tank is. Like I don't think he's not gonna be able to basically trap like lure him into a trap.
Well,
I
no,
feel like
I don't think that even when Tank fights Shakur, the only way Tank win those fights, he's gonna have to just be extremely aggressive and pressurize those guys and see if he can knock them out. Uh, I don't think that the tricks that he used against Rolly or Ryan is gonna work because all of those guys have very high IQs. But Shakur is larger, Devin is larger. Shakur's feet are just as fast, if not faster than Tank's. Same with Devin. And at 140, Devin may have the size that allows him to deal with the power. So it's like, yeah, Tank. I don't know, man.
yeah,
These next
I
couple
don't know
years
if
gonna
Tank could
reveal
win.
just how good Tank is or just how overrated he is. One or the other. There's only two things that can happen. After 2, 3 years from now, we're gonna look at Tank and say, damn, he's one of the best to ever do it. He defeated all his contemporaries, or we're gonna say, damn, this was a great power puncher like Mike Tyson, but he was overrated in his day. He most of his knockouts are against guys who aren't that great, and when he stepped up in competition, he wasn't able to seal the deal. So that's the only two things that can happen in the next 2 3 years. I hope the first one happens for Tank though. I hope that he's like a Joe Louis, one of those guys that can knock you out and do it at the highest levels.
Yeah,
I
after
still,
if he lose just one fight, they definitely gonna try to say he's a hype job, or that's how the fans is.
he could lose one fight. I'm not tripping off of that. But if he loses to Shakur and Haney, and then say you lose to Shakur and Haney, now the promoters they're not even looking at you the same. So now you gotta fight dudes like Frank Martin and shit. Then say you fuck around and lose to him. Like everything is banking on whether or not Tank can perform against the other greats. That's how you judge greatness. So what Terrence Crawford did to Errol, that changed the way that people look at him. Now all over YouTube, you see Terrence Crawford videos. Before, nobody gave a fuck about Terrence Crawford fighting out of Omaha, even though he was the same stud with the same skill set and all of that. But because he did it in front of the people, it changed the way that people view him. So now they look at him in a different light. So whatever happens when Tank fights Shakur and Devin, that's going to determine the new light that people view Tank. Either Tank is going to be goated, or he's going to be known as just another Mike Tyson, a guy that when he stepped up in competition, he wasn't able to get a job done. A guy that was limited in stature and made the best out of it through hard work, athleticism, and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think I've been looking at it all wrong though, man. Based off their last performances, I think Devin definitely got a better chance than Shakur, but I think Shakur still get hit less than Devin, a little bit less. But I just
I
think
think
Devin
both of
believe
them
in
got a good
himself
chance
more.
to beat Tank. You gotta understand something. Tank doesn't throw many punches. Shakur has, I think, probably the best, the highest rate for opponents missing punches against him. So if you check the little box stats or whatever, box rec, Shakur has the highest rate of missed punches by his opponents. You go look that up, or one of the highest. If not, he's either number one, number two, or number three. So when you're fighting a guy that knows how to make guys miss, knows how to make it a track meet, knows how to pick his shots, and you don't even throw that many punches, that means Tank Davis is going to have less opportunities than he usually has when he fights guys. So I think Shakur could beat him. I think Devin could beat him. If they were to fight, I would choose the other man. I would not bet on Tank. I fuck with Tank. I think he a great fighter, great knockout artist. But as of right now, ain't nobody fight nobody besides Devin. Devin the only one that fought Loma. Devin the only one that stepped up in weight and fought Regis. A belt holder, a man that with some clout, a man with resume. So we really don't know what's gonna happen.
But
Yeah, I don't think
would you
like
agree that
Tank
Devin
would
got the
have
better chance because Shakur didn't want to open up against like two punchers?
but
I
to be
think
fair,
Devin.
Shakur did say he broke his hand, but like I don't know, it was a terrible performance. He threw like 12 punches, like 7 punches around. It was bad.
And if he does that
But
with
guess
Tank,
what
he
though?
can't.
Guess what though? The performance that he had, that's the same performance that he needs to beat Tank. The performance that everybody's gonna cry and call him a runner and all of that. If you can't catch Shakur, you cannot beat Shakur. That man is like a cat. So if he can run circles around Tank and do all that shit that put the people to sleep, like that's how Jack Johnson used to win fights against athletic black fighters. I don't know if y'all study on those old ass fights, but Jack Johnson, and you can read newspapers when he would fight other black fighters if they were really talented. People would be complaining about how much holding and shit that he would do because Jack would slow the fight down because he understood this is a dangerous fighter. This is not one of these white boys and shit. And this is a different time right now. Just because somebody like Loma is white, he's great. But back then, like when they had the color line, it was a lot of white champions who weren't even talented. It's different now. So that's not really a racial statement when I say that. I gotta make sure people understand the difference. But Jack Johnson, when he would fight other black fighters that really was boxing and training and shit, he would hold them round after round to the point where the crowd was complaining and saying that he put people to sleep. And Shakur, I said this in my breakdown of the fight, but Shakur is a fighter that could fight for 40 and 50 rounds like back in the day. He barely moves unless he has to. Like he moves in spurts. Other than that, he'll stand right in front of somebody, wait, and then just pick a shot. So he has a very conservative style. If he take the style that he took against De Los Santos against Tank, that'll give him the best chance to win. Everybody's gonna be mad. They're gonna talk shit, but he takes minimal risk. He runs around, throw a couple jabs here and there, and fucking win.
What about the Jamel Herring performance if he fight like that?
Dangerous. I don't think he should do it.
He threw a lot of punches in that fight.
No, dangerous. Let me tell you something about southpaws. Jamel Herring, he's a southpaw. Yeah, that was two southpaws, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so southpaws, most of the time when they fight another southpaw, you're going to see them be more offensive because the angles are different. So now you're fighting somebody in the same stance and you're not really used to it. So you can't, basically, you don't have your next step planned out. So usually what southpaws do to make up for that, they just start throwing more combinations. They start being more aggressive. Tank, whenever he fights a southpaw, he puts on his best performances. He actually lets his hands go. Hector Garcia let his hands go. One of my favorite fights of Tank, he fought one a Hispanic fighter,
Jose
Cuellar.
Pedraza?
No, Cuellar.
Okay.
So I think his name is Jesus Cuellar or whatever. The body work that Tank put on was crazy. And yeah, we all know Pedraza. He punished Pedraza. But most of Tank's punishment performances are against other southpaws. So you do not want to try to go in there and mix it up with Tank if you're a southpaw fighter, in my opinion.
Wait,
Yeah, I've only seen
KJ.
one fight where he's
Oh, go
fought from
ahead.
one.
Huh?
No, I said I've only seen one fight where he's fought from round one against his first world title against Pedraza for the IBF. He fought from round one all the way to round 7.
Yeah, but guess what? Pedraza, he like I don't know how Pedraza was competitive and shit, but he didn't have really much for Tank. Like, so I never really looked at that performance like, yeah, Tank ready. I just looked at it like Tank was in a different class than Pedraza, and Tank was 2 times faster than Pedraza. So in a boxing ring with somebody faster than you, if you don't have a real high skill level, they just gonna whoop your ass.
Right, right.
We see it all
Wait,
the time. I mean,
wait,
Kenny
KJ.
Smith.
Do you remember Sander Martin that or that fought Teofimo and had the
Yeah,
controversial win?
that look like Tio lost that fight too.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask was, do you agree with Sander Martin that Teofimo's win over Lomachenko was just an accident?
No, Loma struggles with fighters that are larger than him and that are athletic. Loma really is small for lightweight. So when Loma is fighting these lightweights who have power and size, it's very intimidating to him. And he has to take his time. Also, Loma fights in an amateur style that's based on angles and shit. So when Loma doesn't have enough time to set up the angles, he doesn't change his style. Like Floyd, if Floyd can't do one thing, he'll try to do something different. If Floyd can't jump in with right hands and shit, then he gonna try to jab and move. You know what I mean? He can't jab and move, and then he'll start throwing lead hooks. If all else fails, he'll put his guard up and try to walk you down. Loma isn't a fighter that will ever put his guard up and you say, you know what, fuck it, I can't get the angle, so let me put my guard up and walk this man down. We're gonna make it a fight about will. So Loma is just like the course said, he got limited skills and damn self. And it's cool. I mean, he's still a great performer. He looked great whenever he fights. Not all the time, but when he's winning, Loma puts on dominant, skillful performances that make you, look twice. Like, damn, did he really just do that? But Loma, at the end of the day, he's not a guy that can adjust to guys that are bigger than him. We saw it with Salido. We saw it with Teofimo. We saw it with Devin.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think he has like that ability to adjust. He just has it. He just has an amateur oriented style. Like with Floyd,
Yep.
like a great example. You ever watch Floyd Mayweather against Zab Judah?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first 3-4 rounds, Zab Judah is just piecing them up. The speed
Speed.
his speed was just too much for Floyd, and Floyd just said fuck it. He put his guard up, started
And
walking
got
him down,
aggressive and walked them
lead right
down.
hand, lead right hand, lead
Lead
right
right
hand, and it
over
was
and
just
over.
over and over again because he knew he
Yep.
was the bigger man, and he just walked him down.
Well, not even about him being a bigger man. Floyd said, look, I'm in better shape than this man. So guess what? Fuck it. That's what Floyd said. Fuck it. We're gonna see what's really what.
Exactly.
And that's what you can do when you're inside a tip top condition. Rocky Marciano was another guy who he could just say fuck it because he knew if I start throwing power shots and then we in the third round, I'm gonna still be throwing these power shots in the 12th round. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a whole different level, a whole different level. Loma isn't at that at that level. Even Loma is weird because he can do all type of fancy shit, but some of the basic shit like being able to get inside of a dog fight, a back and forth fight, you know what I mean? Like not trying to set everything up. You can't always set shit up. Life isn't perfect, so sometimes you gotta start throwing them things. So it's weird. It's like Loma really, really good at the advanced shit and bad at the basic shit. He's a weird one. I don't know how we're gonna judge him in history. I mean, the man is 17-3, but he has one of the best skill sets that you could ever watch.
That's a fight that really make me mad because Floyd started timing Zab really good, hitting him clean, and then Zab hit him low because he was on his way to getting stopped.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, good. That's smart for Zab because now he don't have to remember him getting. He don't got to tell nobody he got stopped by Floyd. So good job, Zab.
I think it was just the ego thing. I just think he was just
Hey,
frustrated that
Navarrete was
Floyd was.
Shakur, man.
Shakur.
Yeah, me too. I got Shakur.
It's really gonna be hard to beat Shakur, man. I think Devin got a good chance, but other than that, I really don't see nobody.
Man, Shakur fuck around could beat everybody. He's just gonna do it in a boring way,
Exactly.
and it is what it is.
You think they'll let him get away with that though at the biggest fights, like at the highest level?
I mean, it's when you fight the way that Shakur fight, it's not even like they can let you get away with shit. These guys don't even be touching them. They don't even be touching Shakur. So it's like it is what it is.
Yeah, if you can't score the point, man, they can't really give you the fight.
Yeah. But yo, we had a good live, man. Brody, Wickedy, PS Freak, NBA 24. Thank y'all for coming up. Jared Bear, I had to drop you because you had all that shit in the background. So next time you come up here, come correct, bro. Don't come on now. Don't come up here with that bullshit. But yeah, we talked about some good topics, man. The full live replay will be available on YouTube. If you like full fight breakdowns and visuals, make sure to sign up for Patreon. It's only $1 a month or whatever you can afford. And everybody, thank you. Everybody that in the chat that was liking the video and sharing the video, thank you.
Had fun.
I appreciate it. But all right, man, I'm going to get up out of here, man. Y'all
All
have
right.
a good day.
Later, y'all.
Pleasure,
Thank you,
pleasure,
KJ.
pleasure.
Peace out, KJ.
Peace.
Later, everyone.